And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the PUBG Global Championship Semifinals, Day 1 between Group A and Group B. I am Porosaurus. Joining me for these first two games will be Mr. Xenox. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm excited.
How can you not be? I mean, we've gone through a first weekend, 3 full days of intense, highly dramatic games. We've lost some fantastic, phenomenal teams, but now we're left with just 3 groups left. And after this, we're going to know who's going to the grand finals.
Yeah, 32 down to 24 teams. And then, as you said, after this weekend, we're going to lose another 8 along the way. And it's hard to believe that we're going to lose 8 more teams. These teams are so good. These groups are stacked.
Absolutely.
And yet 8 more will still have to go home after this weekend. It's staggering to me.
It really is. And you know, we've seen such dominant teams go home last week. There have been so many surprises, so many shocks. We're also seeing teams that we didn't expect to be here that have really turned things on and are really rising to the challenge of the spotlight of the Global Championship. And, you know, I can't wait to see who's going to be the one to come out of this weekend. What new superstars are we going to see made?
Yeah, exactly right. But in saying that, you know, you said that we've got maybe some teams we might not have expected to be here. I think it's more the case of the teams that aren't here we were expecting to be here. At the end of the day, all 32 teams that started at PGC were capable of at least making it to the semifinals. I truly believed that. So for me, there's no real surprise in a sense, but we weren't expecting some teams to go home, the likes of Team Liquid, G2, etc. As we're heading into match 1 of day 1, it's Group A and of course Group B for today, Poro. And for Group B, one thing I want to point out, they're going to be playing today, they're going to be playing tomorrow, and then on Sunday, they're just going to have to sit there and watch.
Oh, that's not, I mean, that's got to be the worst feeling, right? You know that there's nothing else that you can do. Everything that leads up to that day, you know, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine having to sit there with your destiny not even in your own hands. But we still have 12 games before we get to that point, so they have a lot of time to put their mark down. As we see the plane crossing across the very southern part of the island here.
Very low plane path.
Yeah, this it's going to be making for some interesting drops, I'd imagine.
I like that they've added the nationality flags as well to these teams. Cool. Just as EU lost half their teams, now they get the little European flag. Although Aussies lost half our team as well.
Well, you know, it is what it is. It was a very rough group stage. It was a very rough group stage. But lest we worry too much about those who are not with us, let's worry about those who are.
Yeah, exactly right.
One of those being Team Solo Mid.
Now,
as we have a nice little circle right dead in the center here.
Yeah, and that's probably going to give us a comfortable first game, I think, for these teams and these players. Now, 12 games, Poro, it's slightly different for a lot of the teams in these groups that didn't have to play the elimination stage. Now, I'm expecting
this is what we were looking
Genesis
for.
and Entus Force to continue their little treaty here, which is what we've been seeing from them last weekend as well, splitting Pachinki quite fairly. Look, of course, they'll be careful. They'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but you know, there was a little bit of meat in that sandwich there last week. The meat is no longer there, as we are left with our 2 pieces of bread and no liquid meat in the middle here. As it looks like, it does look like though that they are managing to split this up pretty.
Look, Entus Force are going to take the north side like they did last week, and Genesis will take the south side like they did last week. I'm not expecting these 2 teams to start hunting each other down. They'll split Pachinki. Maybe in scrims they've been fighting it out, but not on these live games when it matters. You've only got 12 games. Every point matters. We saw that last weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, both teams doing a really good job of, I mean, Genesis has now figured out how they want to play Pachinki when there is another team in there. I mean, we've known for months now, going back all the way to Face It, that they refuse to give up this spot. This is their drop spot.
Yep.
This is where they feel comfortable rotating from. Anywhere else on the map, they just don't feel as good. So they have figured out now how to play this in such a way where they can split it up with somebody fairly, you know, passively. And it seems to be working out wonders for him, as we see Indigo has actually made his way off into the...
And that's how comfortable they are. Not expecting Genesis to push up north in Pachinki and take a fight. They've even sent Indigo out early. They're going to get decent position because of this. So Genesis, they're going to continue to play passive in Pachinki, and so will Entus Force. And I think that's fine. It worked well for both teams last week. They didn't have to play elimination stage at all. So we'll see how it plays out again for them in their groups.
So we see Genesis, they heard the vehicles in the background. It looks like they're just going to wrap up their looting here before getting into a vehicle. Only one vehicle, though.
Yeah, you've still got to be careful, though. And
Absolutely.
I think that's where Genesis are playing this smart. They're watching the angles, making sure Enter's Force aren't going to do something tricky. Since it's game 1, you know, we say that you've only got 12 games, but if you're going to do something a little different, maybe it might be game 1 where you kind of throw a curveball there and maybe try and surprise Genesis as now the shots begin from Indigo.
Oh, no.
The treaty is over now. Once you leave Pachinki, Enter's Force can start taking shots.
Yeah, no reason for Enter's Force not to send those shots. And a good job by Genesis to keep that Doxia in line, as it looks like the Force boys are going to hop in. And is this actually Genesis? No, they're just going to keep on rotating, just breaking line of sight here. I was curious to see if they were actually going to pull up and maybe try to do a camp here. But it doesn't look like they're too concerned with it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Enter's Force, Genesis both making it through in the group stage, and Genesis leaving a little bit more to chance there, needing a very late game, last game, final clutch out. Yep. Whereas Force, you know, they're not lighting up the scoreboard, but if you go and you look a little bit deeper, you look at the stats, all 4 players on Force are averaging over 200 damage a game. There's only 3 other teams that are doing that, and that's 4AM, TSM, and FaZe. And
that's good company to be in.
And the dealer departed Athletico was able to do that on elimination day. But again, unfortunate. But but you know, that says a lot about this team, right? They're putting themselves in a position where they can get shots down, they can send damage over towards other squads. So you know, we only expect to see the placement start going Enter's Force's way here soon.
Now over the Rumblers, looting around Mill to Power. They're going to move up to Lumber Mill for now, pushing into this circle. They have been the surprise packet. Although for some of us, not too surprised. We thought, you know, this sort of house money sort of phrase that keeps being thrown around, it's quite true for Rumblers. They, of course, got the reprieve coming in as the last team. And they've certainly lived up to expectations in terms of just throwing caution to the wind, right? They are just playing free, and it's worked well for them. And them as a team now expect to do well here in the group stage and in the semifinals.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of a combination of the fact that kind of less pressure that you know, coming in late and being added on, playing with the house money, but then also playing in North America. Yeah. You know, in a place where, in a stadium where you're comfortable. Now the question is that home field advantage going to step up here in the semifinals phase? We see GEX take some shots. Whoops. Oh no, that doesn't break, my dude. We're going to go ahead and run around here. Reposition as they're getting shot from long range, I believe by the other GEX boys.
Yeah, Kane and Sophia. From GEX to GYY and Easy. Look, that's fine. Especially with a circle like this. TSM coming out of Milta have actually pushed over Farm. You can see on the minimap, Vendetta around Farm. That's where they're looting now for the semifinals. Interestingly enough, a lot of the Farm drama that we saw last weekend, and all the Farm teams are the ones that got eliminated.
Yeah.
Now Farm's open for a team like Vendetta, who actually doesn't go Farm at all.
Well, they have a nice little spot here, but unfortunately, TSM's actually running right into this non-reg.
Rory
could manage to get a little sneaky shot here as he's sneaking around. Rory is pulled up just on the other side. And this is interesting. TSM actually scouted this out, but I maybe just didn't see
this could be really bad for Vendetta. Icon's nowhere near. Crits far outside of Farm as well. And they seem to have an idea as to where non-reg is. Yeah, and Edge is way up north as well. The only thing he's going to be able to do is maybe keep an eye on the back of non-reg, but that's not going to help him too much if TSM push through this warehouse. Rory did pull up with the vehicle on, not silent, so this is why non-reg knows he's here, but he's got 2 pushing onto him. There's Iro and Rory. Can he pick up an early double? They might not know he's holding the angle, but he doesn't get the initial knockdown. Goes for the flush because he realized he was in trouble. He couldn't get the flush though, and TSM will pick up the first elimination of match 1, day 1 of the semifinals. Edge was trying to help, but he couldn't.
Yeah, Edge getting a little bit distracted by Rumblers rotating right nearby. I guess he wasn't able to finish off the down player in Rory. Some maybe a little bit of sketchy communication there between the Vendetta boys.
I'm not sure why they were so split there. But also, I'm not sure why TSM pushed into Farm like that so aggressively.
Well, you know, one of the reasons maybe that they find themselves so split right here, you say that they aren't used to typically looting up in Farm area, maybe taking a little bit longer. I mean, we were 7 minutes in, and they're still spread out looting up in Farm, and, you know, that's a little bit late to be looting still.
You think TSM have sort of caught on to that? And
it is definitely possible as we now check in on the rest of the Vendetta boys. You can see they are still split. They do have a vehicle, so they should be able to regroup. Only 1 loss there, so, you know, it's good that they didn't overcommit to trying to save him in that position, because that's something that you see happen a lot of times, is that, you know, a team will try to overcommit and maybe save their fallen player, or maybe take a fight that they're not necessarily ready for. Vendetta just going to go ahead and give up on the one player this time and keep their 3 up for later in the game.
They were definitely never going to save him, but maybe revenge could have been on the order for Vendetta.
Vengeance always on the mind.
That. We are going to get another relatively central circle, although slightly out to the east.
All right, I like that.
Over Potato Hill, which is a good spot for Entus Ace. Actually, I haven't spoken about Entus Ace.
Yeah, Entus Ace, I mean, the Desk touched on it a little bit, saying that this was the OGN Entus team that had maybe a little bit less expectations placed on them, because they were the ones to make it in on the one-day play-in, finishing 11th during the regular season of the PKL. And Entus Force, rather, was the team that everybody had their eyes on. But Entus Ace coming out huge way on the first day.
TSM just now moving to the west of Farm. Vendetta actually pushing out south of them, but they've still only got the 2 there. Icon's going to push straight into this. This is going to be disastrous for Vendetta. They're about to lose another player here to TSM. Icon had no idea that they pushed to this compound, and Vendetta are down to 2 players already, and they're split heavily. Critical Motion and Edge remain. TSM have picked up 2 pretty easy kills to start match 1.
This is just, you can tell that they are just not comfortable playing around this farm area, just kind of losing one and you know, getting nickeled and dimed here essentially by TSM. But this is great news for TSM on the opposite hand here, getting 2 kills early, maintaining form that they showed in the group stages. We check in on Tempo Storm getting to the top of the hill, set themselves up. They do have Song Yang from Entus Force on foot just to their west, but I think Song Yang may be just picking up a little bit of information here.
Obviously, Entus Ace on top of Potato Hill. As you mentioned, Entus Force still close by to Tempo Storm. If they're not careful, could find themselves being pinched between the 2 OGN teams. Rang just watching as he heard the vehicles. Now he holds vision of that location where we saw Tempo Storm coming in from. Rumblers are now pushing into Edge. This has gone disastrous for Vendetta. It literally couldn't have gone worse than this for match number 1 for the only Australian team remaining. Holding the doors, Waldo. Edge doesn't land the shots. Waldo does. Tries to shoot the window to jump out. It's too late. 3 health. The pre-fire is too late as well. Lost HD will pick up that kill. Oh, it's gone horrible for Vendetta.
Clean as you like, though, from Rumblers. They knew that there was a man in that building. They pushed it as 3, not leaving anything to chance, not wanting to risk having one of their own boys downed and flushed.
And the interesting thing as well, Vendetta, of course, now they didn't play in the elimination stage. They were in Group 1 from last weekend. Did quite well, if I recall, around 5th or 6th position. Yeah. 46 points or so. They started very well, and they continued to hold that momentum until maybe the last 2 games of their 6 didn't quite go as well. Now, they're going to have a game where they're actually going to start poorly here for their 12 matches. Yeah. Will they be able to turn things around?
Yeah, definitely came out swinging in the group stages. Kind of tapered off towards the end, but at that point, it didn't really matter. So now, as you said, we'll have to see how they can dig themselves out of this early hole as we check on Tempo Storm on foot. I think they smart enough to realize that there's probably a squad up here. Yep. Nothing trading shots back and forth just yet. Joy looking over the ridge line, nothing to see.
Phase 2 about to come to an end in 13 seconds, and Phase 3 is going to, I'd say, dictate where most of the action is going to play out for the remainder of this game. If it continues over to Potato Hill, Entus Ace might find some company on both sides. Right now, it's only Tempo Storm on the west, and it continues to go over towards Shelter, towards the east of this previous zone. And again, this is actually playing out really well for TSM. They already know they've cleaned out Milta. They already know they've got Farm under control, and even south of Farm too. They're running that 2-2 split. This is going to be potentially the perfect start for TSM. They've got the south side of the zone to themselves. Rumblers just took over that building against Edge and Vendetta. Now they've got this position inside of the zone too. So far, I think it's looking like it's going to be a logjam out west. To the east, it's going to be quiet.
Yeah, and so, I mean, up until now, Death Road completely unoccupied in the center of that circle. Rumblers have a 3-1 split going on, but up at the Ridgeline Road, not much else to be found here, as Gustav has found himself pinned down in a shack. Oh. Shots being sent over to him by infantry. You will notice infantry playing with 3. They have 1 player out for a medical condition. We'll get more information on that to you as soon as we can, but for now, they are playing as a 3-man.
Look, they're in a decent position over at Snake as well, so they're not going to be too upset with this. The longer they can hold out, the better in terms of their circumstances, although Na'Vi are starting to push over to their location. I'm not sure why Gustav pushed up to this shack. They already had a decent position around farm. I think he just wanted better position in terms of center. Yeah. Now he's in a position where he hasn't got his vehicle and he's stuck in this shack. I don't think anyone's going to push on him, but in saying that, it's not the spot where you want to be this early on in phase 3.
They just find themselves very split up. I mean, they're very widespread across the entirety of farm. It gives them a lot of information, lets them know, you know, gives them vision on things, where things are going to go next circle. But at the same time, it forces them to play a little bit more passively during these circle 3 rotations.
Yep.
Not being able to take too many shots here as we see Genesis on foot trying to make their way in the western part of the circle. They have Entus Force just above them, and if we remember correctly, Tempo Storm has Potato Hill as well.
Gen.G have rotated towards Shelter on the east. There hasn't actually been a lot of rotations this game. It's been quite stale in terms of movement. Even out west still, Genesis, Entus Force, Tempo Storm around Potato Hill have been quite lackadaisical. Me, Luke, watching towards Entus Force. Feels like it's a matter of time because, of course, that blue zone's moving in. Entus Force are not inside of the circle. Neither is Genesis. And, well, I feel like a pinch is coming here, and it's not going to favor Entus Force unless they keep wrapping up north and pushing just north of Tempo Storm. If they try to just push straight in towards the circle, they'll find themselves pinched between Genesis and Tempo Storm.
Yeah, they've left Doya behind to make sure that they don't get wrapped on, but he might actually get surprised here because obviously Entus Force, no idea that Genesis is pushing on this right now. They're so concerned in tunnel vision here on Tempo Storm. Unfortunately for them, Tempo Storm has hard cover to use and play around here, so Force has to figure out what they want to do with this fight, and Genesis could get involved at any time.
Nade's being thrown towards me, Luke. It's going to get him quite low. Sharky opens it up with a knockdown onto Kale, though. Genesis keep pushing up, but they're not getting involved just yet. They want to get better position. This is smart from Genesis. They might be able to capitalize on actually both teams here, Tempo Storm and Entus Forces. Kale's going to be finished off. Doya gets a knockdown onto Sharpshot. Now Genesis enter the fray, thanks to Profi, and Nerf even steals the kill onto Doya. The circle moves, but it's Potato Hill where we're going to see the action.
As you see, Genesis picking the exact right time to strike, arguably maybe a little bit early, but they're still going to be able to get in here and probably get some kills off of this, as now Maluk has spotted out Win, and that's going to be him going down. Indigo healing through the blue.
Yeah, and he's the last one alive for Entus Force. They are certainly coming off third best in this exchange of the 3 teams. 1 down for Tempo Storm. They've got 3 up. Genesis, though, have got the better position, and they've even got the numbers, although we saw, of course, that knockdown early onto H-Win. And that might be a chance for Tempo Storm to push forward. Never mind, Nerf's going to get the revive. And this is where K-Mine can really just kind of keep them trapped. Doesn't have a nade, though. Many with the 6 times, as we're seeing actually the kill feed really line up right now with Lazarus and Sun Sister. Zampa's going to get the bleed out onto Seong Jang. So Tempo Storm pick up that kill, and that's just going to slowly creep away from this. They don't want to take the fight with Genesis.
Yeah, it looks like they've given up on Sharp Shot. Sharp Shot's just going to bleed out. Tempo going to focus on making their way into this new circle. They don't know. Genesis, they know they realize there's a full 4-man threat, and they also have no idea where Indigo is, so they're just going to bail on this, make their way into this new circle, and try to turn around and maybe do a little bit of gatekeeping. Here is the remnants of this fight from earlier. You see Gen.G split up a little bit here. PO off to the off in the distance. Esther and Taman still using that vehicle trading back and forth with Lazarus. And here comes Crit.
That's going to be the end of Critical Motion. There's nothing he can do. He wanted the shack as a last safe haven, but unfortunately doesn't even make it to Michael and Gustav. And another kill for TSM. Vendetta will be the first team eliminated in the semi-finals here for match 1. It was, unfortunately, the perfect storm, if there was one, and they had a horrible, horrible match 1. Zampa eliminated by Profi and K-Mine as Genesis pick up their 2nd kill. I believe Maluk is the last one alive for Tempo Storm. Never mind, he's gone. GYY picks it up for QM.
Unfortunate for Tempo. They pulled off of the fight. They wrapped right into QM, and Profi and the boys just came over the top, found him. As we see now, Win has been picked off by Jet.
So is Nerf.
Yeah, K-Mine and Profi now the only 2 left, but that's a pretty good duo to have if you're holding on to 2. As we see QM going to refocus their attention off to the north, where GEX is trying to make a run in.
So Lazarus on your screens, Purdy Curdy and Luke 12 remain for Lazarus. They had the exchange with Sun Sister. Gabba and Kandesu still alive. Gabba's pushing in with the UAZ. It's getting lit up from actually both sides here. Lazarus along with VC Gaming. Shot from Domu lands, as well as Taman there towards Lazarus, who are pretty much stuck in a hole right now. Gabba actually makes it in to the next circle. Now the nade towards Purdy Curdy and Luke 12. Does it make the distance? It does, but it doesn't connect onto either member of Lazarus.
But it connects onto the car, and that's almost just as bad for Lazarus here as we check in on QM. GEX trying to do a wraparound, get a flank here, but it's going to be spotted out by Legions. He gets Sophia taken out. Leo is gone down as well. Kane now the last one up. Liga is on 2 health, trying to go for the first aid, but the blue is right on his back.
Just barely making it in. It's quite scrappy up north with QM and GEX. As you mentioned, Kane, only 1 remaining for GEX. I believe Easy, does he get revived here in the blue? Probably not. Even if they do get the revive, I don't know if he's going to make it much further in this game. Never mind, actually, it's 2 knockdown for QM. I thought he was going for the revive. Wu Fang and GYY are the last 2 standing for QM as the next circle continues to feed onto Enters Ace. Purdy, Curdy, and Luke 12, though, have made it into this next circle for phase 5. They've moved away and safe. Never mind, not safe at all. Purdy, Curdy knocked down by Summer. VC Gaming is a team to watch out for. They dominated the elimination stages. Sun Sister taken out in 14th position. That was Gabba by DJ Boy. And no kills for GEX as they go out in 13th by K-Mine. Genesis have been scrappy this game, Poro, but they're picking up kills.
They are picking up a ton off of this. They are just sitting here third partying, and there's nothing really that QM could do about it. As you see, they are just dead to rights. They had everything around them. You can see Indigo, though, on your mini-map, the last remaining player for Force, staying alive. He's feasting off the blue a little bit here, but K-Mine really coming in huge here. You see he's already knocked down 4 kills for himself.
Enters Ace in prime position for this game based on the circle. Pushing up to Loki. He's going to be lost HD. It's the Rumblers. Ooh, Waldo got knocked down as well. But Jerry Poppin was there, able to get the trade. It's a 2-for-1. Jerry Poppin could push up along with Micro to get these revives, and they should be able to. Taman, PO, the rest of Gen G pushed up closer towards the circle. There is time here. The blue still a long way away as we move over to Na'Vi and Infantry. Jiao Yang was knocked down by Aduzis. They're looking to push in here onto the trio. Now a duo.
All right, we want to see what Na'Vi is showing up this weekend. We saw them playing a little bit more passively, not getting very many kills at all. They're going to turn it around this time, and yes, that's going to be Infantry Clan taken out by Na'Vi, losing 1 in the process. They should be able to get the res here onto Bestalock. Nobody really pressing this from range here. Look at this. Look at the push from Lazarus right into Crazy Sam, and Fiashan gets taken out as well. Great shooting coming out of the Lazarus boys there. They still have 1 up in the form of Luke 12 hiding out towards the center of the circle as Rum manages to get all the reses off. Gen G did not push this when they had 2 down.
Yeah, Gen G were very passive here. They still hold decent position. TSM around the area keeping an eye on this, although they just had a player knocked down as well. Cherry Poppin, 1 kill. Or is that the smoke? No nades there. Joy knocked down by Iroh. It's going to be certainly Rumblers versus Gen G very shortly. Deal with Taemin, who's the front line for Gen G inside of the shack. Only has 1 smoke remaining. Although knocked down by PO, it's a decent start for the Korean team. Rumblers still got 2 standing. Lost HD's knocked down by PO as well, holding a decent spot on the top of this building. Only 2 left for Rumblers, and they're right behind this tree. I don't see a way forward for them here.
And TSM now trying to make their way in from the south side. We get back into Rumblers. They have the tree. They have Blue Zone right on top of them. Gen G has them pinned. Absolutely dead to rights. This is what we've been wanting to see from Gen G. Can they keep PO alive late game? Rumblers going to find out timing, though. Microfry going to get the down, and no, he's going to get down on his own teammate.
What?
And Rang is going to finish it off from range. Entis Ace flushing out the Rumblers.
Oh, here comes TSM to clean up onto Gen G. Taemin's knocked down. Never mind, knocked down onto Michael. That was from PO, but PO finally gets put down by Iroh. TSM up to 5 kills, and if they can clean up the 3 members of Gen G, they could make it 8. Long way to go, though. Esther pushes over, goes for the revival to Taemin, and now TSM have been spotted by OG and Entis Ace, who are continuing to hold a decent spot inside of this zone, but moving up north. VC Gaming will be pushing in. Lazarus as Luke 12 needs to push in as well on the north side on VC Gaming, as Profi is eliminated in 9th. Genesis just missing out on placement points. 8 teams remain.
TSM playing like a team possessed right now. They have such a wide spread on the southeastern side of this circle. They're just going for any fight that they can find and managing to get their reses off as well. So still 4 strong. You see them playing the hillsides here, playing the terrain. They know that Gen G has to push into them here eventually. They're going to turn their attention now towards Na'Vi, though.
Indigo finally spotted by Sting Divine's Jet. They're eliminated in 8th position for OGN enters Force. Luke 12 has spotted Taemin on the mini-map from what I can see. He does get the knockdown in the kill feed for Lazarus. Another pick-up point for them. As you mentioned, though, TSM still holding spread on this east side. Gen G, if they push south, they'll run into TSM. If they push north, though, they'll move on to Luke 12 and then potentially VC Gaming after that.
Yeah, we haven't really got a chance to touch on them too much because there hasn't really been too much action going on to the north, but VC still 4 strong coming in from the north side, and Sting Divine also 4 strong coming in from the west. So Entis Ace holding down the middle. You see Na'Vi with 3 up still, TSM coming in from the east, and then Gen G. Oh boy, good luck, guys.
Tough from this sort of position for Gen G. Enters Ace holding the high ground. They'll have a lot of eyes on them, though, in this sort of position at this point in the game now. Nade on the PO. That's going to get the knockdown from Michael. The first one was good. The second even better. Can the third get Esther? Yes, it can from Michael. Double kill for TSM as they send Gen G packing in 7th.
This is such a controlling, confident TSM team right now. They are taking every single fight and feeling like they can win it. Although now Rory has gone down. Na'Vi has finally turned their attention back here, getting themselves in a better position to try to engage.
Luke 12 out finally for Lazarus, the solo player in 6. 5 teams remain. OGN enters Ace, Sting Divine, Na'Vi, TSM, and VC Gaming. Entis Ace still holding a high ground position, but they are going to have to deal with VC Gaming, who've got 4 alive. TSM trying to deal with the pressure from Na'Vi as we're going to get phase number 7. North, south, where does it go? Kind of south, kind of. Not too much, though.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting for VC, how they decide to push up onto this, because they cannot get into this circle without having to deal with Entis Ace in some way. They can't wrap around. I mean, if they come around from the west, they're going to have to deal with Sting Divine. If they come around from the east, they'll have to deal with Entis Ace and or TSM.
Or both.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Na'Vi is just laughing.
If you're VC Gaming, you're going to have to take this fight with Entis Ace as soon as possible. Try and make it quick as well so that you don't get third party. As you said, Na'Vi's laughing mainly because they don't have to get into a fight here for phase 7.
Well, you got all 4 of these 4 strong teams all coming around on the nice north side, and Rory's actually going to get taken out by a doozy here from range.
TSM pushing up
yeah,
north.
Rory can actually get picked off and flushed as well as the circle has started moving in. TSM going to come from the north, come from the roadside.
This Ace are going to have to defend themselves against 2 teams. Rang knocked down onto Domu from VC Gaming, but TSM now we're pushed over to this north side position as well. Sting Divine have held their position out to the west, so they're not pushing in either. Mickey gets the elimination onto Tide from VC Gaming. They're down to 3 players remaining, but it's 3 only up for Ace as well. DJ Boy very low. Domu bleeding out. The nades from TSM are causing a lot of catastrophe. Rang eliminated. Joy knocked down as well. Gustav will get the elimination onto Mickey. TSM playing this well. Gustav has to go prone. And this Ace still trying to hold onto the shack for a bit of cover. TSM are just lighting everyone up though. 10 total kills. Joy's eliminated now too. No one is safe from TSM right now. Even though they've only got the 3 up, they are the ones leading the charge here in this fight. Can they spot DJ Boy prone in the grass as the last one up for VC Gaming? He can't survive Gustav or TSM. They are steamrolling the north side of this circle.
TSM, they have been completely dominant from the word go in this game, and they're just going to keep continuing to wrap around the north side. Alpaca going to try to stay alive a little bit, but he's running right into the waiting arms of a 4-man split from SDV. He's going to hide behind the bush for a little bit. The one thing you can question here, Sting Divine has been able to stay up for this whole time, but they never got involved, and this is kind of going back to what their group phase was like.
I don't think you could ask for a better start for the semifinals if you're TSM. Goes south for Na'Vi.
Oh, Na'Vi.
It does help for them. Sting Divine. Alpaca's still alive for Entis Ace. Although now, as I said that, it takes a bullet to the back of the head from Michael. Good night indeed, Poro. 12 kills for TSM, and they might break the PGC record of 15 kills here in match 1.
It's going to be close, but they still have a lot of work to do. Sting Divine playing extremely passively. Run away, run away, run away. Okay, we're good.
Oh, that would have been...
Oh, man.
The low light reel?
Reports of the PEL's death have been greatly exaggerated as TSM and Na'Vi still coming in huge here in game number 1. Now, what can Na'Vi do?
Okay, at least he got it forward this time rather than throwing into the tree. Oh, that's pretty good. It bounces off and away, though, from Nikki. It was too good for its own good. Michael takes a shot from Turtle. 46 health. He wants to land the shots, though. Wants to find the knockdown so he can allow Gustav and Iroh to push forward for TSM down this hill eventually, because they're going to have to start moving. Blue zone is on its way. 50 seconds from phase 9. It's Senya, though. Na'Vi, the CIS team who's helping out TSM.
There you go. Only 3 kills for Na'Vi right now, but they're still up and still fighting. And they have a Sting Divine team. It's basically kind of a question of who's going to get them. TSM looks like they're going to go ahead and wrap around to the east side, and they're going to leave SDV for Na'Vi, as Aduzi's going to pick up Turtle. It's down to just Jet and Levi's for SDV.
Turtle eliminated by Bestaloch. He goes down to the blue. And as I said, Jet and Turtle. Well, it's actually Jet and Levi's that remains, I should say. Aduzi, though, going to be spotted by Iroh. Michael knocked down by Senya. And the treaty is over already between TSM and Na'Vi. Na'Vi wants both teams, if possible. Michael eliminated. Bestaloch has moved up into a great position. They'll leave Senya behind as the anchor. Gustav with a knockdown onto Levi's. TSM has still got 2. 13 kills. Levi's is gone. Jet remains for Sting Divine. But Na'Vi with 3 alive now look like the favorites to maybe win this game, as Bestaloch will send Jet out in 3rd for the rest of Sting Divine.
All right, here we go. We got a wide split coming from Na'Vi. TSM is right on top of each other. Gustav and Iroh are going to die to the blue. There you go. Wow. All right, deny the points.